Well, welcome, everybody. We are so excited that you are here with us for Wake Up Call number 23, and that is the chapter that we are in today, Make Your Appearance an Asset, and we've got a good one lined up for you, so I'm going to dive right in. First impressions are critical, and they happen in a flash or a wink. So Malcolm Gladwell explains in his best-selling book, Blink, when you meet someone for the first time or walk into a house, you are thinking of buying or read the first few sentences of a book. Your mind takes about 2 seconds to jump to a series of conclusions. Oh, my goodness, isn't that the truth? So whether we like it or not, the first impression a person makes is largely dependent on appearance. It's not just a guy being romantic when he says, "I'll never forget how she looked when I first saw her." We also notice how people look, what they are wearing, and how they fix their hair. The first impression you make on people creates a lasting impression. In fact, if you fail to make a positive first impression, you may never be given a second chance. This is especially true when going on a sales call or a job interview. Companies spend millions of dollars on packaging and branding their products because their research teams have determined that the look and feel of a product impacts buying decisions. Wouldn't it make sense then that we consider how our appearance affects the price we are able to charge for our services? Author John Malley first coined the term dress for success in the 1970s. He asserted that tailoring one's attire, grooming, and overall appearance was important in making a great first impression in the job interview. He also stressed that maintaining a professional look while on the job would aid career advancement. Your appearance includes everything from the way you groom yourself to the clothing and jewelry you wear. All these little things combine to form your overall look. When you find yourself unsure of how to dress, play it safe. It's better to overdress than to run the risk of being too casual. As I wrap up the importance of making your appearance an asset, I want to share a personal story that demonstrates the impact our appearance can make. Normally when traveling, I wear jeans and a golf shirt, he says, but on a recent one-day business trip, I wore a suit and tie and was feeling good. Arriving at the gate, I greeted the agent by name, smiled, offered a friendly hello, and asked if there were any available seats in the first-class section. The agent responded with a smile, upgraded my round-trip ticket, and didn't even charge me. It even seemed that the airport vendors, flight attendants, and other passengers treated me differently, too. Now, this is not to suggest wearing a suit and tie we're going to get you upgraded to first class on airplanes, but it is a reminder that your appearance makes an impression and affects how people view and treat you. He goes on to say, for the challenge, one of the fastest shortcuts to success is to learn everything you can from those who are more successful than you, including how they dress. Pay attention to all the little details. Men, the length of the tie, the style of clothing, and appearance of the shoes. Women, be concerned with appropriate clothing and jewelry, manicured nails, attractive makeup, and a neat coiffure. So the quickest and surest way to have others view you as being successful is to look successful. So I'm going to turn it over to Jamie to get his take on it.
All right, and thank you so much. Thank you. All right, so when he talks about dress for success and first impressions absolutely matter. I remember reading a book called The Slight Edge, and there's so much, truth to that. So we want to be conscious of your, first impressions that you make on people. And so obviously he's talking about, dress for success. That means dress for the occasion, right? So he mentions going to a job interview. You want to dress, dress the part, right? But I think that also means when I go to Walmart, if I showed up in a suit and tie, it would be not being myself. And it's not against a suit and tie, what I mean by that is I think it's all about authenticity and being true to yourself. How you present and carry yourself is very important. So sometimes, as he spoke, I think a suit maybe makes you feel better. It might make you feel kind of that way. But at the end of the day, we can make a first impression by the first thing that we say, right? By the first time we open our mouths. And so I believe it's so very important to have a first impression. And when he talks about dressing for success, I think it's a real simple thing, right? We want to dress for success, but it's not about keeping up with the Joneses, right? So if you're so worried about how you look and how everyone presents you and how people see you, you can make that into really a negative, because then it's going to not allow you to really connect with people, to be able to really listen and really be cognizant and aware and be worried about them. So absolutely, first impressions are so very important. So you want to make a first impression, a good first impression in everything you do. And I think that really comes from really being authentic, being true to yourself, and really being aware of the situation. And so I love this chapter. First impressions, matter. It's very, very important. And as I said, another book that goes right along with this chapter that I really loved, and the book is called The Slight Edge, and there's so much truth to The Slight Edge.
Well, I love that, and I love your take on it, Jamie. And as I was reading this chapter, and we were reading it together, and then we always talk about, okay, what's your take on it, and how do you view the chapter, of the day. We got into some really deep discussions, and it was so good to just go back and forth and really dissect the chapter. And I absolutely agree with first impressions really do matter. And I also believe that you can be the most well-dressed, well-put-together person, and you can look like $1 million on the outside, but if your heart is not dressed for success, if your heart posture is not right, then, if your heart posture is, and I put this word in quotation marks, ugly, then it's not really going to matter what you look like on the outside. And, that's just my personal opinion, and Jamie and I discussed that. And I also think that, today is such a special day in my life. December the 12th, today is my parents' 53rd wedding anniversary. And I'm bringing that up because I think that they have made such an impression. That's what Todd is talking about, impressions and first impressions. They have made such an impression on my life in every single way, shape, and form. They are the epitome of love. They still hold hands, they still kiss, they still joke around, they still have fun together, and that has made such an impression on me and how they walk and live their life. And it's really a great example for Jamie and I, and it is that impression that they make. It's not something that they, do in public and then behind closed doors they're, they can't stand each other. They actually are best friends, and growing up, I always knew that my parents' marriage was first. They loved me, they supported me, they cheered me on, they sacrificed for me, but I always knew at the end of the day it was mom and dad against the world. And that's been such a great impression on Jamie and I. And when he's talking about, dressing apart, and I'm bringing all this up, and I hope I'm bringing it back full circle now, but my mom is the most likable person. If you're on this phone call and my mom, she just is the most likable person in the entire world. Everyone loves my mom. I've never in 47 years heard anyone say a bad word about my mother. she is just, if you can't tell, I just think she's the bee's knees. And my mom is someone that she always dresses her best. I don't care if we are going down to their house to hang out and watch movies. Now, she's not in a ball gown by any means, but she has if we're going down to watch Christmas movies, for example, she'll have a Christmas shirt on. She'll have some Christmas earrings. Her hair will be done. She'll be in makeup, and it's not this, a beauty queen makeup or anything like that. But I know that no matter what, my mom is, and I've talked to her about this, and I've said, you don't have to do that. And she said, well, Holly, it makes me feel good about myself, and I just feel like I'm putting my best foot forward. And I'm like, Mom, we're just coming down to eat popcorn. And she is like, but it just is something that I do and that I like to do. So she is a great example of that. And I really am always thinking of that in the back of my mind. And she even if she's going to the grocery or Walmart, she puts her best foot forward. And I'm not sure, if that's why it makes her more likable or it makes her more approachable. I think the best thing that she wears is her smile whenever she goes anywhere. So she's just a great example of that for me. And, there's a lot of times we're on Zooms nowadays, and I always have that in the back of my mind. But 9 times out of 10, I always show up in my pajamas, to be quite honest, because I'm just me. And that's what Jamie was talking about. I'm me. But I guarantee you, if my mom was on a Zoom, she would not be in pajamas. So you can take that for what it's worth. And I believe that at the end of the day, this is really important what he is explaining and sharing, because, you don't want to go to, if you're invited to a wedding or, some kind of a banquet, there's an appropriate protocol of what to wear, right? You're not going to walk in and waltz in your pajamas and, your hair's not washed. I mean, that's not what you're going to do. There's a time and a place, right? You're going to put your best foot forward, because really people, and it's just the world we live in, and whether we like it or not, first impressions do matter, and when people see you, they automatically judge you. But I just want to encourage every single person on this phone call, if you're going to wear anything, wear a smile. Your smile matters. And in this world where everybody's looking down on their phones and nobody's engaging with other people around them, if you really want to put your best foot forward, as my mom would say, put that smile on your face and greet other people with a smile, because it really is that little thing that really, truly can make the biggest difference in the entire world. So, take this chapter, I believe, with a grain of salt. Again, there's a time and a place to, look your best and dress your best and put your best foot forward, but don't let it overtake your life and be so concerned about what other people think about you. Be concerned about what God thinks about you. Have that God confidence, and I believe if you have the God confidence and you put a smile on your face, at the end of the day, it's those little things that matter, and that will be the most lasting impression that you can make on someone. So we hope you enjoyed this chapter. Happy anniversary to my parents, 53 years. Oh my goodness, lots of compromise there. A great example, I think, for all of us. And I'll turn it back over to Jamie to unmute the lines.
Awesome call, you guys.
Everybody.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie and Holly. Have a good day.
Thank you. Love you all.